Please do continue to pray nightly for those who are victims of SRA, satanic ritual abuse, every night at around 3 a.m. all over the world, because it's 3 a.m. at different times and different locations. But all over the world there are rituals done in order to keep individuals in bondage. And especially now at this late time in Revelation, they're ramping up their efforts to send out curses and spells to believers in mass. So believers, we should be sending out prayer and intercession in mass as well, every night, for those of you who are night owls, or who for whatever reason have a circumstance where you can get yourself up at night. You may be the only person on your street, you may be the only person in your city or your state that's up praying that prayer at that time for satanically, ritually abused individuals who are not as rare as you would think. Now let me tell you, we've heard about some of the horror stories before from Kathy O'Brien, Bryce Taylor, and the others, Fred Springmeier, and people that document mind control, but and SRA. But there's other things that I've never heard before that are also going on. Okay, we are really talking about a military occult complex that has morphed into a technology occult complex. There are individuals who are under oppression because they've been chipped. Now, this is not your garden variety oppressed individual, or this is not your average case of a person in need of deliverance. These are certain cases, and the people generally have some idea, but these are certain cases where family members are heavily involved in secret groups, and they have given their children up to these groups. Again, if you have never seen any indication of any parent or whatnot belonging to these groups, and you're still in need of deliverance, then no, this part does not apply to you. Don't begin to think, or or have paranoid thoughts or fearful thoughts that you've been chipped or something like that. No, you probably simply dealing with a spirit that can be removed through prayer. And once you have lost the weight, all you have to do is maintain the weight lost. Okay, but for other individuals who understand there's certain things about their history, certain things about their family line, certain things that they've heard, family stories, whatever the case may be, there are other individuals who have more extreme cases. They may have been implanted, that may have had an implant placed in them, a stone, a bone, or a microchip. Whatever the case may be, this needs to be a part of your prayer from now on. You need to, you have not because you ask not. You want to ask that these things, or the powers of these things, be removed. You want to ask that the Lord loose the healing power of the angel Raphael to come down and do supernatural surgery and remove these things from your body. You can ask this, but again, as you're praying, that's what we want to do. We want to create an opposite force that's not equal but more powerful, to where when they're up at night honoring the source of their strength, we're doing the same, at least for a moment. Okay, I'm not saying, I know you got to get up in the morning. I'm not saying that you need to get up and stay up for an hour. You know, can you pray with me for an hour? But, you know, just say the prayer. Say it when you're on the way to the bathroom or going to the kitchen to get a glass of water. Just say the prayer, just in the amount of time it takes you to go from the bed to where you're going to back to bed. Okay, but you know, for those of you who really have a heart for intercessory prayer, you know, yeah, get up and hit your knees. Okay, go as long as you feel like you should go. But these people are being forgotten. They're being forgotten by the body. They are searching and seeking for help, and it's a church on every damn corner. They should not have to seek for help. When it's a body of believers who claim that they love the Lord, who claim that they have prayer lives, and that they believe in the power of prayer. And the Lord is not a man that he should lie. He said that wherever two or more are gathered together, asking anything in the name of the Messiah, it shall be given to them. So you get you some partners. If you have a partner, if you have a life partner, should be your husband or your wife partner, that you can pray with. Y'all join hands together at night. Set the alarm. Spend 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It makes a difference. I know a lot of people don't do it because they're not convinced that it makes a difference. It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. So please do that. Do that for me. There are a lot of people in need of deliverance. Let me also say this also about deliverance. Okay, if a person wants to keep the gluttony spirit, or they want to keep the bitterness spirit, some people like that old stuff. You can't get it off of them. If they want it, you're going to go against their will? Are you a witch or a wizard? You're going to force them against their will? So, you know. Now, there are cases like when individuals fall into the fire. Okay. Or when they are harming themselves and appear to be out of control. Okay. Where they cannot be held accountable for their will. Their will has been overtaken. Then that's a different story. But when they are still in the space and place of being able to make conscious choices, okay, and make decisions for how they want to live their life and whatnot, you can't come and bogart them with prayer or hit them upside the head like I understood with a Bible. You have to allow for them to speak out of their own mouths the desire to be free. Okay? And once they express that desire, you know, they may not be able to say certain specific things if the oppression is tough. Okay, but you know a person that want to be free, you know the behavior of somebody that want to be free from the behavior of somebody who maybe just wants some attention. Okay? Or maybe in need of counsel. You know, sometimes we go to praying before we start talking. Just talk to the person. See where they're coming from. All right. What it takes to fix your face. Reading the spirits. How do you know what spirit is present on an individual? Okay. Now, we say, and we know that it's true, you consult the Holy Spirit before you are to even open your mouth. You let the Holy Spirit lead you as to what to pray and what to say. Okay? And it's written all over the face. Reading the spirits. That's why it's called reading the spirits. Now, God don't like ugly. It's not biblical. Yet the scriptures support the idea that is conveyed and displayed by this phrase. Your expression Express versus expression. Of course, we talked about that before. To release the pressure. X to exit, press, pressure. To release the pressure. The pressure of what you feel inside is released and then displayed by the way that the muscles in your face are arrayed. So using the energy and motion in your mind, you manipulate and arrange the musculature in your face to create some indication or idea of a feeling. Okay, this is your display. The expression on your face relates to inner feelings and emotions. Your countenance denotes a deep spiritual change. So countenance, we're going one step, one level deeper than expression. Some have a countenance that expresses or releases peace. You've ever seen a person who just has that countenance on their face of peace? It's different than an expression. Okay. The same person can become startled and show a momentary expression of fear. Countenance is about what's on your spirit and how that has caused the musculature in your face to arrange. An expression can be based on a momentary feeling. Stimulus, real-time stimulus can create an expression. You know, someone says something funny, and people with all sorts of countenances that are around hear what's said that's funny, and they all have an expression of laughter or happiness, jovial expression on their face. Okay, that's the difference. Okay. Now, of course, there's joy and there's peace that surpasses all understanding. There's the joy of the Lord, okay, which would constitute that is beyond an expression. That's a countenance. The joy of the Lord on your face. Have you ever seen someone like that? I have. Okay. This would be the spirit of fear passing through. In the case of a person who has a countenance of peace, getting startled and having a momentary expression of fear. This would be an example of the spirit of fear passing through. Demon spirits can pass through the best of us, yet they need some permission or legal right to stay, like when you feed or entertain them. So give no place to the devil. Ugly, that's right, I'm talking about you. Ugly is caused by demon spirits. Wow. People say, I thought they got that from their mama and their daddy. Have mercy. Mother looked at the child. Is fixing the child up to take some pictures. The photographer's overhearing what's going on. The mother said, "Oh, isn't my son so adorable? He's got my eyes." And the father says, "Oh, yes, and he's got my nose." The photographer looks up and says up under his breath, "He's got my sympathy." Have mercy. But ugly is caused by demon spirits. Have you ever seen someone who maybe you didn't like their features, and you know, that's shallow. Who are you to judge and say who's beautiful and who's not? We're talking about internal beauty and internal ugliness. But have you ever seen someone who you would say is externally not attractive, and then you've seen them over time do the most internally attractive things? It changes how they look to you, don't it? I know it do. It happened to me. It's happened to you. Demons are ugly. Their presence as resentment, guilt, anger, confusion etches and creates an imprint in our face. You've seen it before. You see it in, I know LaWanda Page had practiced that practiced that look, I'm sure, for years because it got her money. But that look of, that's a look of resentment and dissatisfaction and everything that Aunt Esther would have. But, it's a joke, but at the same time, it's founded in truth. Resentment will cause the face to look a certain way. I saw rejection and isolation on somebody's face just as clear as you could see a smile or a frown. And it was surprising to me because I did not know I could see and identify that specifically at the time that I first noticed this. But I saw this on this person's face, and as we talked, it came right out. Don't forget the talking part. I know you don't like to talk to people, whatnot, but that's, that should precede prayer anyway. Because as you're talking, not as you talking, but as the two of you are having a conversation, and as they are talking, the Lord will begin to download to you different things that they're going through, and different things to pray for concerning them. And the confirmation that you're hearing from the Lord and not making things up out your own imagination comes from their own communication. Communication rooted nation. Let them talk. Let's continue. The wrinkled lines and frown marks, swollen, darkened areas beneath the eye, even gray hair, can result from the spirits of fear and unresolved issues, things that have traumatized and have often gone unrecognized. These spirits can hide beneath the depths of the subconscious in the soulish realm for years, while the person appears to be a normal, productive, well-adjusted member of society. They are sometimes full of spirits that have made their home inside of that person. The person is kept unaware as the spirits themselves make effort to keep their host unaware of their presence. They are good at hiding, especially inside of a person who is denying, but the expression will give them away. Beyond iridology, the healers that are believers who desire to meet the requirements expressed by Christ are given the gift of discerning by listening to the instruction of the Holy Spirit, and can often see the Spirit within an individual by examining the expression that they wear without. Do some research on William Branham, 1909 to 1965. He had an amazing miracle ministry. Okay. That's Branham. We want to go from a deliverance ministry to a miracle ministry. Okay. Flesh and blood has not revealed this to you. Seeing auras and demons. You're not seeing them with your cornea and your pupil and lens and all that stuff. Okay? Flesh and blood. That's what makes all of those things. And flesh and blood has not revealed this to you. Okay? Seeing auras versus seeing demons. Just another sloppy copy, making evil fair seeming. Spirits in false versus the real form. The false form is the aura. You're only seeing them manifesting as a color, which is just a frequency, vibration. Okay? They're not allowing themselves to be made physical. Okay? But you're still able to pick up on their energy. The ugliness as an expression. The ugliness as energy. Yellow, red, whatever the color may be. Okay? Energy is aura. Just spirit energy. So when you're seeing what you think you're seeing in the aura, all that old new age stuff, so you got you confused. And then I hate to use the terms, but it's the terms that we know these things by. Okay? So that's what you're really seeing. Okay, that's why you can see the light one, and you can see, okay, you're seeing the spirits on individuals. You're seeing the spiritual presence that's on an individual. Okay, let me say that. I'm not strictly saying all auras are demons. You may see a person's angelic guide manifest as or show up as only a color. You feel me? You may see that. And when I say angelic guide, I'm not talking New Age. I'm talking about the ministering angel that the Lord has assigned to them. Perhaps Raphael is with them because they are sick. And you may see this aura on them, and for whatever reason it cannot be revealed to you, the form or the true identity of this energy. So it manifests to you as a color. Let's continue. When spirits are on a person, that's what you're seeing. Okay? When you see an aura, you're seeing what spirits are on a person. And, you know, again, as people don't see, I don't see no auras. Okay? But I do see the spirits that's on a person based on the expression or the continents. Alright? Could be love, peace, jealousy, lust, sickness. Remember, the Lord spoke the word, these signs shall follow them that believe, and it was done. He said it. So the signs are going to follow you if you are one of those that believe, period. You have very little to do with it. Don't think you'll ever get to be a professional. Don't think that there's no room for improvement in your prayer. Don't think that you won't have more to learn. I do. I learn something new all the time with the desire to comfort those who were grieving from experiencing loss of loved ones. I learned new things. I did. Okay, I learned, and I'm still learning. But you know, I learned by listening to the Lord, let Him guide, how to balance the approach between, well, you know, if they're sick, you know, do we say, well, hey, you know, the Lord is going to heal them, He's going to bring them back. But then at the same time too, as believers, we can't ignore what it could also be the Lord's will to bring them home. So, you know, we think from our own desires, you know, what we desire from our own perspective. We don't want them to leave, and so we don't even want to consider that the Lord may be ready for them to come home. But that's something new that I learned. Okay, so we learn new things all the time. This is something that the Lord will continue to train you in and perfect you in as you continue to work in this. Okay, the harvest is ready, but the workmen are few. Okay, so He just wants you to be willing, you know, to be willing to come and plot a field. Okay, and then He will instruct you. I'm telling you, I was such a baby bear square. I didn't know what time it was. Couldn't read or watch. And the Lord just began throwing me into situation after situation until finally I just had to sit back and realize, well, Lord, you taught me to do this through experience. Non-verbal communication reveals the spirit most often, but they will speak through coded speech, double-tongued, a mockery of parable. They will say one thing that has double meanings. I was in a vehicle one time with an individual who was experiencing oppression on the level of changing altars. And I didn't understand all of this at first, but at one point we're in the car. You know, it snows bad in Detroit. It was a really bad snowstorm. We were going on to the on-ramp of the expressway, and the person was driving while doing something else, and so their hands wasn't on the wheel steady, and we swerving and going on, and I'm like, you know, you want me to drive? Or no. And it just came in my head, it was from the Holy Spirit. Says they're trying to kill you. As soon as you come up off the expressway, get out the vehicle and walk the rest of the way home. So I said, all right. Within a few seconds, I said something like, yeah, you know, just come up right here and let me off, all right? And they said, what you think I'm going to do, kill you? I mean, right in conjunction with what the Holy Spirit had just taught me. That's a good example, okay? But there are lots of examples. They will say one thing that has double meanings, okay? I told you about when I was looking at the spine of a book, it said Sybil, and I asked the individual on the phone, I said, what is your name? And they said, Sybil. Okay, that type of thing. But a double meaning thing. I'll tell you one more. After I got out the vehicle, after we got off the expressway, and I got out the vehicle, and I'm walking home, I believe it was on Puritan, walking down Puritan, and as I'm walking, the Lord had me saying this prayer while I was walking. It was late at night, lots of snow, it's cold, I'm walking, saying, as I would step on my right foot, I would Yah, with my left foot I would Va, so I would step Yah, Wah, Yah, Wah, and I was praying in my mind. Lots of weird things happened happened that night that I seldom speak of, because I remember how my mom reacted when I told her about what had happened, just like I'm finna tell you. But I got out the car, I'm walking, doing my Yah, got about to roll on or something, and the car came down the street. Now mind you, it's scarce on the street because it's terrible snow. And the Lord told me to be cautious of this car. And when the car rolled up, and I'm walking across the street, and it's rolling up to the corner, so I'm coming up to the driver's side door, was a female in there, and looked like another female next to her. She rolled down the window, and she said something vulgar to me, but it was double meaning. What she meant was she was going to cut off my head. And I could see it plain as day in my mind. You know, I'm a young enough man at this time to where if I didn't feel a strong sense that something was wrong, I would have indulged some kind of way, shape, or form. I'd have hopped in the car or something. But I was terrified that somehow or another I was going to get my head cut off if I got in that car. I knew that was the other meaning. That was the meaning. It came to me. But anyhow, anything that is said to you by an individual that you suspect is under some sort of oppression may have this double meaning. It could be way more things than you would think, not just the obvious type of things, okay? Because there's two intelligences inside of there. Two intelligences, two wills. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And this is where the instability comes from, okay? How can you be stable? You got your feelings, then you got the feelings of something that's inside of you chilling, and maybe 6 other ones. You feel me? All right, so anything that comes over you and you can't stop it is a demonic power over you. Anything that comes over you and you cannot stop it is a demonic power over you. Anything. I'm not talking about the thirst for water. Lord have mercy this evening. Just coming up with some monkey junk. No. I'm talking about things that outside the realm of necessity. You got to drink water. Yeah, even your hunger. Since you're going to go there. That's right. Even your hunger. Have mercy. Because 9 times out of 10, your body is tripping because it's been used to telling you what to do. It's been used to being on schedule. It's been used to you listening when they tell you what to do. Now, for whatever reason, your body's like, wait a minute, it's not listening. I'm telling you I'm hungry. You're not paying me no attention. And this is where the struggle comes in at. But if you don't eat for 3 days, you're not finna die. If you don't eat for 5 days, you ain't finna die. Right? So what is it that make you, okay, something comes over you and you cannot stop it? Again, we're not talking about people with health issues. People who have to eat in order to keep up their blood sugar or whatever the doctor has told them. I ain't talking about that. You know what I'm talking about. You should be able to stop doing just about anything you want to outside of drinking water. Okay? You should be able to. Not that you would want to, but you should be able to stop doing whatever. If you can't, and you know you can't, there's a demonic power behind that. Torment is one thing. It forces negative emotions on us. But when we give our will over in temptation, we invite evil spirits into us. You see? Torment, I have more empathy for people who are tormented. Okay? They've been selected. The enemy is trying to bully them to keep them from coming to full fruition of who they're supposed to be. But people who give over their will in temptation, they are invited the spirits. They ask for it. Always remember, you are not alone, ever. And of course, that does not mean that they don't deserve to be interceded for as well. Just like we talked about with the entertainers, okay? Most of the time, they didn't know what they was getting themselves into. Okay? But always remember, you are not alone, ever. You have not because you ask not. Ask for help, not from the system, but from believers, and be delivered. If you ask, you will be delivered. Teach a child to pray, and yes, don't ask for help from the system, because the system's going to dope you up, drug you up, or put you back into some sort of institution where they can solidify your mind control. They can turn it up, tighten it up. Okay? So you don't want to deliver yourselves into the hands of the tormentors. It's their job. They're going to torment you. Alright, so you ask for help, not from the system, but from believers, and be delivered. And a closed mouth don't get fed. Open your mouth. You may need more than one person to help. You may need a team of people to help. It might have taken a team of people to get you where you are. Okay, to torment you the way that you are. It may take a team to get you loose. It may. Okay? It may. The Messiah didn't need a team. Okay? Teach a child to pray. Then let them pray for you. Powerful on too many levels. You ain't ready for that yet. Somebody heard me, I think. I think I heard somebody hear me. I don't trust the synagogue of Satan. If they say it's day, I'm going to bet my bottom dollar it's night. But the Messiah knows the enemy has endeavored to confuse us by way of language and to confuse us concerning the Messiah's name. Is this not part of the conspiracy by the author of confusion? And wouldn't the Lord see beyond this and not allow for this to hinder his people who sincerely want to seek him and know him? A person may find this ancient name supposed to be Hebrew in a book, and they may be as evil as a kitten killer, and you may not have had that book or read that book or gotten access to that book, but all you know is Jesus. You mean to tell me that the Lord finna honor the kitten killer because he got the right secret name, but he ain't gonna pay you no attention because you was mistaught by the powers and the cowards that shouldn't be? Believe it if you want to, but not me. As knowledge is increased, the wise of the world become more foolish. The simplicity of the believer is his salvation. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't make it complicated. The Holy Spirit is no intruder. You must invite, as is copied by the devil. The devil copies that from the Holy Spirit. You must invite. The Lord calls and chooses and uses whom he chooses. When your will meets his, the choice is best made. It is by his Spirit, the Holy Spirit, that deliverance comes, not through people. Of course, we know that. Okay, he'll use people to facilitate the deliverance. He chooses whom he uses, and does so according to his grace, mercy, and will. It is not by your righteousness, perfection, faith, or works, but by his choice. He chooses who he uses. You are able to see. You can look at your brother and at your sister, and you can tell what's going on in them, certain things that they won't be able to say, or that if they do say, they'll make themselves more vulnerable to the spirit of guilt or unworthiness, you know. But the Holy Spirit will give you discernment. Jeremiah 33:3. Okay? And again, flesh and blood will not reveal these things to you. Okay? There's new things going on too, folks. For those who are in the deepest, darkest levels of oppression. Psychotronic warfare, covert harassment, and stalking of all kinds are done. Okay, they can control the emotions of individuals by way of machines and computers and other silent weapons. I know this for an actual fact. It's not a guess, it's not conjecture. There's no paper trail that will convince you, but I can tell you it's true. I can tell you it's true. And see, I would like to share more, but I'm not the only person involved in that particular story. And I'll tell it as much as I can without jeopardizing their confidence and anonymity. But the bottom line is, I thought I was talking to an individual, and then I thought that they altered and switched, and either an alter or a demon personality came in, and I got to talking to it and was informed after being led by the Lord as to what to say, I was informed you're not talking to a demon either. I was talking to a person. I was talking to their controller. You know the difference. We had a talk like two humans would have. Okay, I know the difference. And anyway, my point is, I know they can do something now that I didn't know they could do before. They also told me that they had been actively researching and looking at my videos and eye hustling as well as ear hustling. So this made me want to make some changes, and as I made some moves and I made some changes, you know, certain things rearranged, and it just took me a minute to get everything settled and lined up. And you know, sometimes it'd be like that. But I knew that some things had to change, and I wanted to be sure as to how to change them. Did I need to come on a different forum? Could we continue with YouTube? You know, how could it be done? Because once this was discovered, to me, in my opinion, that meant to make some changes, make some adjustments, to do some things differently, to keep things secure. But ain't no security, y'all. And you know, congratulations. We small time, we lightweight jamming, but we've gotten the attention of some organizations. They also informed me. Now this is a conversation I'm having with the individual who was in search of deliverance. Okay, it's coming from the same person. Okay, then all of a sudden this person switches. They can control this individual's electronics. They can take over their electronics. They can respond for them. You know, they try to sound like them, or you know, they can, not only can they control their responses by piping a response straight through their computer as if they typed it themselves, but the individual has implants, and the implants are also accessed by some computer station somewhere, and they can, through their computers, or you know, through their network, they can give a response to you through this individual that's totally false. They can make them say something to you that's untrue. They can make them act a certain type of way and everything. And this was ill to me. You know, I saw all of these things done. It all manifested and unraveled before my very eyes. So I saw it myself. It's true. They have these things. Okay, they use a mixture, kind of like a producer who uses some samples and some live instruments. They use a mixture of electronic, new school stuff with computers, and the old school stuff using bones and stones and rituals and whatnot, praying over pits. There are also groups who are attempting to resurrect or finish one of Crowley's most cherished works, which was the Babylon Working. Okay, and that's going on right now worldwide. It's right now. After the gates of Hades was opened and everybody was telling you left and right, okay, now it's more gateways open, there's going to be more demonic activity, blah, blah, blah. Everybody was telling you this. Now it's 5 months later, and people don't want to act as if that information was real, or people aren't acting on that information. Okay, if that was real information, then what does that mean? That means that now, months on down the line, there should be more fervent and effectual prayer coming from the body, not less. And that, several months down the line, there should be more people aware of deliverance, more people involved in deliverance, not less. Okay, not a bad thing too. A person going through these things, okay, a person suffering from electronic implants, from necromancy being performed on behalf of them, meaning that somewhere people are doing spells using dead bodies, sometimes freshly killed dead bodies, and doing these spells and curses on behalf of another individual to bind that individual. You say, why would they do that? Again, sometimes they don't really know, but their bosses, the fallen, understand who among the population of people out here will give the hardest time to the enemy. And those people are the people that are being singled out right now for torment the most and harassment the most. Believe it. Okay? So they can send messages and not only torment and instruct the victim, they can control the victim's responses. And once the victim tells loved ones, you get placed in the system, psychiatry, psychotropic drugs, which enhance the demon's ability to torment you in one respect, and in another it turns the demon down. Okay, it allows for certain other demon spirits to step up while suppressing other ones, just for a time. Okay, just enough to where family members say, okay, they're out of my way for a couple hours, I can go do an errand or whatever, they'll be knocked out, whatever, blah blah blah. But there's no curing of the victim. Okay, you don't want to get into the system. System means program. You are drugged, surveilled, or both, abused further once you give yourself over to the authorities and say, hey, I'm having these problems. I don't care if it's a therapist, the rapist. An organization may be used to infiltrate your life, a la Adjustment Bureau. They may send members from an organization to just bump into you casually somewhere, or to be in close quarters with you somehow, some way, work, school, whatever. Just to make sure that you stay with the program. Okay, kind of like the what was the Jim Carrey movie where he didn't, the Truman Show. Okay, it's kind of like the individual is like in the Truman Show. Okay, like Jim Carrey, but they don't realize that they're inside of a show. But the people that are planted around them are planted just to keep them going down a particular pathway, a road that will lead to where the show is trying to take us all. Okay. All right. People from that organization may drug your food. They may enter and leave during your unconsciousness. They may sexually assault the individual. Okay. Rohypnol, the date rape drug, or other drugs may be used. I've seen this as well too in the satanically ritual abused. They will definitely be drugged. You know what a person looks like when they're drugged. These groups and organizations are not penny ante. Well, because a penny ante, lightweight street gang or whatever is not interested in doing these type of things. Okay, this is why I get on folks who say, well, it's all about the money, just follow the money. This is beyond money. This ain't about money. They getting thrill, out of tormenting individuals, out of doing the enemy's work to try to prepare and make way for the enemy to come unhindered, unfettered, unchallenged as much as possible. And they're remunerated for their service. So they do what they do. Once people begin to expose them, they use members and their influence to harass and hinder any who attempt to disrupt them. But again, the greatest trick that these groups pull on people in mass is making folks believe that it's not real, doesn't exist. Okay? It's much more comfortable for you to believe that every night when you lay in the bed sleeping tight, that all over the world that's what people are doing where it's nighttime. Consider some places may be 5 hours behind you, 5 or 7 hours ahead of you, whatever the case may be. Keep that in mind as you step out on the front line. And again, you don't have to get any deeper into working this harvest than just praying for somebody, man. Just praying for them. Okay? In the midst of the night, especially. But I mean, pray during the day too. Okay? Somebody needs your prayer. It ain't costing you nothing. Okay, a few minutes sleep, that's all right. You'll get that back. But that's the message of today. We wanted to talk about, don't forget those who suffer from the SRA. Don't forget your cousins, your brothers, your cousin that act like your brother, and the rest of them who may have been affected by their parents' choices to be involved in brotherhoods. Pray for them. You never know what may have happened behind the closed door. Okay? And your cousin just may never tell you. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead. I thank you again for your patience, for your understanding. I know we've still got some things on the back burner that we need to examine. Jasher and Matthew coming up next. That should be this weekend's lesson. But I hope that you benefit from what the Lord has given me to give to you today. And I thank you and I love you all in a very special way. Shalom.